everyone. My name is Chao Yan, and I'm a master's student of Digital Engineering program. I'll be the one to anchor this interview today, and we have invited 2 alumni of our faculty. Hello, welcome back.
Thank you.
So, would you like to introduce yourself to our audience?
Let's start with you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I am Yusra, and I come from Pakistan, where I graduated as an electrical engineer in 2014. And right after that, I came here and started my master's in digital engineering at the university, and I graduated in 2017.
Okay.
Yep, I am Axel Garcia. I am from Venezuela. I was born there, and I studied chemical engineering.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, digital engineering was a very interesting program because it allowed me to study the computer science part, and I have already some experience in my bachelor degree with programming. So, yeah.
Okay, so when you two were studying here, did you run into any, or did you face any academic challenges or problems? And how did you tackle them, Axel?
Several challenges. Partly might be because lack of knowledge in some areas, because obviously coming from a very different field, when you get into the computer science area, you're gonna face this. But the way that I particularly got over them is by trying consistently to learn all of my deficiencies. So luckily we live in the information era, so there are lots of material online that one can use to learn, and yeah, this has been very positive for me.
Okay, what about you, Yusra?
I think I would just add to what Axel just said, because it's actually a struggle when you are changing field from a different, moving from different domain to computer science. It requires a certain amount of time to get on track, and that's what I think is a problem, especially for the digital engineering program, where we have to structure we have to plan out for ourselves, where we have to decide which direction we want to move forward with. So I think that's a challenge as a new student for trying out for a different field.
Okay, so apart from what you've mentioned, are there any other soft skills or hard skills that you acquired during your study here?
I think the most important thing would be communication. I think for students who start here as new students, especially for them, they must communicate with people around them. And currently, there's so much support for students at the university that it's just for them to come up and speak. So I think that's important. And other skills that I acquired during my academic is writing skills. Scientific writing is very important, especially if you plan to proceed in the field of research as a PhD student. So I think this is something that I learned, especially related to what I'm doing right now.
Okay. Anything to add, Axel?
Yeah, I would say that, for example, the part of working together in teams, although I have done that in my previous jobs, when you're doing programming and in this area of software engineering, it's a little bit different. So this part I really enjoyed, working in projects with others and dividing tasks, and this was a skill that was really important that I learned here.
Okay, so it's what you learned, I mean, your master program related to your current job a lot?
Yes, and obviously there are many things of the program that you will not use specifically per se, but there are times where you're doing something and you say, okay, well, I saw this in the university. Like recently I was working with databases, and it's like, oh my god, I saw this in the university.
Okay.
And then it happens. Yeah, so you will use many of the things you learned, but many also you will use until certain point. So yeah.
So for me, my PhD topic is very much related to my master thesis.
Oh, okay.
So it's like sort of an extension to it. So I would say whatever I did in my master thesis directly relates to what I'm doing right now. It's just an extension and a more specific direction, because for a PhD topic you are more focused towards one direction, and that's what it is about. So I'm totally into my master thesis, then PhD topic. It's very much related for me.
Okay, since you mentioned the master thesis, when did you start preparation for your master thesis?
Okay, so after my third semester, I started looking for student jobs, and, because I didn't have any prior work experience before I started my master's degree. So, and luckily I was able to find an opportunity where I started as a HEVI student, and I worked for 8 months, and then it got extended as a master thesis. So it was, I didn't have to apply separately for that. I had the opportunity, and I chose to move forward with that. So that's about it. I mean, I started as a HEVI student, doing my did my master thesis, and then continuing as a PhD student.
Okay, then how did you approach your supervisor?
Actually, I found this HEVI application ad or on the university website, and that's where I approached the supervisor, and that's how things automatically sort of made their way out, because for the HEVI I already had a supervisor, and so he became my master thesis supervisor also, and then it was just, that's how it happened.
So Axel, when did you start preparation for your master thesis?
Well, in my case, I also was finished with with my subjects on time on the third semester, and on the fourth semester I started with the master thesis. In my case, I liked the area of artificial intelligence. So then I knew that I wanted to work in this area. So I contacted the supervisor, the head of the department, and said, okay, I want to do some thesis in this area. And then the supervisor suggested topics where I could work with, and I really liked it. And then I moved forward with it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, so is your master thesis topic highly related to your current job?
I wouldn't say at the moment, no. I'm not working in artificial intelligence just yet in the company where we're at, but at some point in the future, I think this will be something that I will apply.
Okay, so one last question. From your own experience, how do you think, how important is learning German language, not only for study but also for work?
Well, I can say my experience in the working environment, it's very important. You cannot avoid it. The company where I work at, for example, has the corporate language is English, so I can always communicate with them in English, but they will always, of course, feel more comfortable to speak in German because we're in Germany. So for anyone, I would really recommend to learn German.
So what is your opinion?
Currently for my job, as I'm at the university, so we mainly communicate in English, but I think to stay in Germany, this is one thing that everyone should do, to learn German language, however difficult that is to do, but because I think it gives you more confidence and allows you to feel more integrated into the society, and I think that's very important for work and for your routine life as well.
Okay, so before we finish our interview, would you like to add anything, or would you like to give some suggestions to students?
I think I would just suggest new students to come here prepared. I mean, not just about your study course, also about the system here, and also the language, of course, is very important, at least the beginning levels. Secondly, I would also suggest students to make a plan for themselves when they arrive here and try to stick to that, because I think it's very important to own our decisions, and when a student decides to come here, things then must be planned out, and the student must stay motivated and focused to that plan. So I think that would be the main advices that I would give for now.
Okay, so you're...
I would say for my personal experience, of course, I agree. And also take advantage of the university, for example, projects. In my case, the digital engineering project was what took me to have the job that I have now.
Oh, okay.
So it started as a project, and then I moved up to a full-fledged startup. So I would say take advantage of it to learn, and any. For me personally, I'm deeply interested in all the topics that I was related to. And the special thing about digital engineering is that I could sort of make my structure. So as you said, this part is difficult, but at the same time you have freedom to sort of shape your master degree, and I found that great. And so, as you said, also keep in mind where you want to go, and when you're interested in these topics, of course, you will find out more information about it, and you will learn even more than you can learn here. So complement always the knowledge that you're acquiring with some complementary knowledge from these areas that you're studying. And in my case, when I was having the classes, I tried to keep myself on the topic. So if I was having some database classes about this, then I would go home and study it. Sometimes, in some cases, if I had time, I would go ahead of the class, and more or less when they about the program. And this is really good because then you know more or less what's coming next, and you won't be so lost when you get the class.
Okay, thank you for your suggestion and your time. Okay,
Thank
that's
you.
all for today. See you.